People live in one self-contained room. Is that the answer? Frank Days is a property developer. He says his goal, he says his goal is to build affordable housing. So he builds one-room studios and they've got a kitchenette and an ensuite. But Melton City Council is rejecting them. They are saying those kitchen sinks and stovetops are not allowed and have to come out. Frank Days joins us now. Morning, Frank.
Good morning, Raf. Thanks for having me.
I've just given a little explainer there. What do you understand the council's objection to be?
So there's a disconnect, Raf, between the Residential Tenancy Act and the Residential Tenancy Regulations, which they are using to hang their hat on. And it's very much a council-by-council situation. We build these right across Melbourne. Some councils are fine with them, some are not. And effectively, they're saying by having the amenities that we've provided, we've actually created 9 individual dwellings as opposed to a rooming house.
And so they want to ban. Have they been built, or you're proposing to build them?
No, they're built. They were signed off by the Melton City Council Health Department as a rooming house. They have a building permit and an occupancy permit for a Class 1B rooming house. But the planning department have decided that, in their eyes, that's not the case. The
planning department of the council. So I guess the claim from some might be, look, you're not really providing real accommodation. It's sort of, it's a poor version of a rooming house. What would you say to that?
Well, there's actually the opposite of that. We're providing amenities far and above what would normally be considered a rooming house. So there was a new legislation brought in February 23, which states that the minimum standards for a rooming house should include a kitchen sink, a cooktop, an oven of some description, a fridge, and suitable cabinet space for tenants to store all their requirements. We've built them in line with that. However, again, the Residential Tenancy Regulations are not aligned with the Residential Tenancy Act, which says by doing that, we've actually created these individual dwellings, which obviously we don't see that. We wouldn't say that if you were to put these to the marketplace that anyone would buy them as an individual dwelling. We can't strata title with them. We can't sell them as individual. And we're providing affordable housing. So our tenants love the fact that they can come home from work or their day out. They can choose to share the common space or not.
I'm sorry, Frank, does the common space have a kitchen as well?
It does, yes.
Yeah, right, okay. What are they like? How big are the rooms?
About 25 square metres. I don't know if you saw the photo that The Age put out there, but, we've got the nice subway tiles, stone bench tops, full-on suites. Each room is furnished with a smart TV, bed, 2-seater couch, dining table, chair, outdoor furniture. Each room has its own outdoor area.
How many of them would you have built, Frank?
Well, I've been involved in this space for 7 years, predominantly building them for clients. I've built my own. I've built 4 for myself over the last 2 years. All have been built with these amenities included. But Melton Council have taken the view that these aren't compliant with the planning schedule.
And this is the first time someone's done that sort of after it's been approved and built?
No, so the initial case was actually against Studio Homes, brought about by Brimbank Council over in Sunshine Way, and that was December 22 that the VCAT found and ruled in favour of the council.
Right.
So some councils are now hanging their hat on that.
So this has been bubbling along as an issue at the moment then, hasn't it? Some councils have been objecting. So what comes next, Frank? Are you going to rip out the kitchen stuff?
Yeah, so we've been instructed we have until June 10th to comply. I've been fighting this for the past 11 months. I've reached out to the current housing minister and the previous housing minister. I've reached out to the current premier and the previous premier. Have never received a response. We talked to Victoria Planning Authority, and they've said this is an easy fix, but it has to be done at state level. And as you saw possibly in the Age report, that the state government are saying, no, this is a local issue, not a state issue. So no one wants to take responsibility for making these decisions. And as a developer, we're looking at taking our capital north because it's a much friendlier environment to deal with. Our goal was to build 10 to 20 of these a year, which provides an extra.
Do you have 10 or 20 of these little blocks sort of on the boil, kind of ready to go?
No, we would be buying and developing as we go.
Right.
So we actually pull any equity we have on each property out so we can build our next one. In terms of returns, they pretty much look after themselves, but we're not making any profit out of them as such.
Right.
We use
so you don't plan to do any more in Victoria of these?
No, I've got one that's half built now, but all my future developments I think will be in Queensland.
Are there others building similar things like yours?
Yes. Look, there's 1,500 registered rooming houses in Victoria. A large portion of those will be old houses that are converted, and what people probably think about when you say rooming house or boarding house. What we've done is we've tried to pull that rooming house into the 21st century and create a facility that the landlords like to be proud to call their property, and the tenants are proud to call home.
So are you going to you've given up the fight effectively? Like you're going to comply and just leave it and go interstate, or?
Correct. And look, to be fair to Melton City Council, the dealings we've had with them, they've been nothing but helpful. They've allowed us to go for a year. Okay. So that, as far as they're concerned, they actually like what we've developed, but they're saying to be compliant with the state regulations, they need to enforce this.
Okay.
But as I said, we're building them in other jurisdictions where we submit the plans to council and they're being ticked off as fine, and they're exactly the same model.
Look, thanks for explaining it all, Frank. That's Frank Days, property developer. So it does look like those facilities will be ripped out, part of the Melton Council's area. Look, just keep listening to the radio.